Starting with cricket, what else? Pakistan have set Netherlands a target of 287 after an innings that ebbed and flowed in Hyderabad. Half centuries from Mohammad Rizwan and Saud Shakil rescued the 1992 champions and helped them to eventually post a competitive score. The Dutch are making their first appearance at an ODI World Cup since 2011, and captain Scott Edwards opted to bowl first at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. They had Pakistan in all sorts of trouble inside the first 10. Openers Fakhar Zaman and Imamul Haq, as well as captain Babar Azam, were sent back to the pavilion with the scoreboard reading 38 for 3. Pakistan got back on track courtesy of a 120-run stand between Rizwan and Saud Shakil. That partnership seemed to have swung momentum back in Pakistan's favour. But both batters fell for contrasting 68s in the space of 3 overs. Mohammad Nawaz and Shadab Khan put together a 64-run stand, which took Pakistan past the 250 mark. Pacer Bastelida broke that partnership and he finished with 4 wickets. Haris Rauf struck a few boundaries in the end before the men in green were bowled out for 286 in 49 overs. Now, there are games at the World Cup and then there are games that matter to the teams playing, but not that much to the neutrals. The picturesque HPCA Stadium in Dharamsala hosts the third game of the ICC Cricket World Cup. It's also the first double-header day. Bangladesh and Afghanistan haven't had the greatest of build-ups and they are chasing 2 very important points. Afghanistan didn't have a great World Cup 4 years ago. They lost all 9 matches that they played. Now, the form this year leading up to the World Cup in India isn't great either, with just 3 wins in 11 games. 2 of those have come against Bangladesh. Rashid Khan is no longer the only standout star in this Afghanistan team, but he remains the most consistent. Consistency has been an issue for this plucky Afghanistan side, and with the conditions expected to favour the quick men, application will be key.
We played a lot with each other, so sometimes we won, sometimes they won. In Asia Cup, they won from us, the last game that we played with them. But we are totally ready here, and we had meetings, we prepare ourselves, and we know them very well. So we will play accordingly, and we will try our best as a team to bounce back in this game against them.
Bangladesh's build-up has been rocky to say the least. A public spat between captain Shakib Al Hasan and former captain Tamim Iqbal rocked Bangladesh cricket earlier this month. The Tigers have been threatening to take off in world cricket for a while. They've won 3 matches in each of the last 3 World Cups. This is the last dance for their veterans Shakib Al Hasan, Mushfiqur Rahim and Mahmudullah. The transition is taking place with under-19 World Cup winning stars from 2020, Tawheed Hridoy, Tanzim Hassan and Shoriful Islam all set to start.
We all want to win the World Cup, but as you rightly asked me, realistic is that if we win 4 or 5 games, we give ourselves a chance to get into the semi-final or the knockout stage. That's our first aim.
Dave Watmore is a former coach of Bangladesh. He was in fact coach of Bangladesh when they knocked India out of the 2007 World Cup. You know a lot of these boys who are still in this Bangladesh team. Why do you think they've struggled for consistency outside of their home conditions?
Well, home conditions, they're able to prepare what they would like to do, to play on, and they've had good success doing it. Perennially, Sri Lanka anyway, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have been accused of, preparing their own wickets to suit their home ground advantage, and when they travel, they lose. And then you've always got these comments that come through, why don't you prepare wickets that are sporty and bouncy so you get used to it? That's a good debate. It's a hell of a dilemma. You want to have home ground advantage and they do it so well in Bangladesh, but when they travel, it's not so good.
Okay.
Same with Sri Lanka.
Okay. But the conditions in Dharamsala are not exactly anything they used to back in Bangladesh. Yeah. But consistency is also a problem with Afghanistan. They've not played too much since the last World Cup, obviously because of what's happening back home. But do you think they're now entering a phase, Dav, where Rashid Khan isn't their only go-to man? There are other players who are turning up, the likes of Rahmanullah Gurbaz, Ibrahim Zadran, and Mohammad Nabi is always around.
And Mujib.
Mujib, yeah.
In fact, I was thinking, Diggy, this game, both teams would say this is the one we can win. So it should make for a good contest. But you're right. I mean, Rashid Khan used to carry that bowling attack by himself, but now he's got some really good support, mainly in the form of spin. That Mujib I really like.
The mystery spinner.
Mystery spinner, yeah. And there's a quick bowler called Faruqi who's just sprung on
Fazal
the
Haq Faruqi.
Yeah, he's pretty quick and he's lively. Not very tall, but he's pretty nippy, and you know, he can make it very awkward for the batsman. So yes, you're right. They've got a few more players. We haven't talked about Ramanella Gubas. What a
We'll talk about him. You know why?
Surely.
Because Dave Watmore's key matchups. This is where I joke with Dave. This is where you earn your sort of bread and butter. This is where he thinks this match could be decided. Let's bring up those key battles on our screen right now. The first one you've gone with is Rahmanullah Gurbaz, and you have him against the Fizz, Mustafizur Rahman. Now, Gurbaz has actually got 200s this year, one against Pakistan and one against Bangladesh. And the Fizz, you know, is deadly with his cutters. Let's see how he bowls in friendly conditions.
Yeah, look, he's swinging the ball again, and I put Mustafizur Rahman, but you know, he and his partner, whoever it is, will be needing to you know, to front up to Gurbaz, who's been in pretty good form and a very confident young man. Like all these other youngsters who have come along the way in performing, confidence has given it to him, and I can see it in his cricket and his keeping, and he's a very good competitor. So you know, Mustafizur has to use that swing. Surely he can. He'll get it over there. Let's look at his partner in crime, who you're mentioning. He's coming up next.
Right. We are talking about Taskin, and you have him up against Rahmat Shah. We'll have the next key battles coming up. Taskin's the leader of this attack.
He is. He's the quickest of them all. He may not open, but he certainly will take a newish ball, and he's got speed in his as his weapon. So you know, he has to continue to use that weapon. And with anyone with speed, you gotta hit the top of the stumps. Test match length, direction has to be straight. Length very important as well. So
okay, so let's look at the next one. The next one, again, a player you mentioned, Fazal Haq Faruqi, who's impressed you, and you've got him down against Liton Das. Now, Liton Das needs to be consistent at number 3. He needs to do what Kusal Mendis does for Sri Lanka.
He does.
Bail his team out or sort of build on that.
He's got the potential to do that. He's been a little lazy, I reckon, on occasions, which you know has opened the door for a lot of criticism. But this guy, I know, and I've seen him play some really good innings as well. He just got to focus and knuckle down and do the hard things. It won't be that easy at Dharamshala, so you know the job will be ahead of him, but he's got the potential. And Faruqi has also got the job, along with his mates, to knock that guy, to knock his stumps back or get a nick and stop him from scoring. So you know, Faruqi, he's got that terrific Yorker as well. You know, he's just onto you, deceptively quick. So he needs to continue to do that, and the bounces are good too, because they're not too high, and it comes, you know, awkward heights.
Where you don't want it to come. Let's look at the next one. This is the battle of the all-rounders, and you get a feeling Shakib, they're going to play around Shakib because he's always bailing his team out, and Nabi can turn the game around in an instant. And then they both also, he's a former captain, he's been captain, he's captain back again, and their spin bowling is also, they contain very well.
That's right. Now, no-brainer really.
Game changers, 3D, all of them?
Yes, they are. They're both very good players. No-brainer really, when you've got a left-hand batter who is a little, you know, aggressive in his own way. The right arm off spinner comes in, and this guy Nabi, he's got the smarts. He's been around a long time, so he can control the speed, and he can control his length and the drift as well. So I've matched them up together, but you know, again, he's got mates that bowl spin, so you know, he's not alone. You'll have Rashid to help him, and he certainly will have Mujib as well to help.
Okay, the last one, let's take the last one, that is Mujib. We've got Mujib coming up, and this is against Mushfiqur Rahim, a very senior player, probably last World Cup as well. But again, at 5, that's an important position for them.
Oh, surely, and he's also a finisher too. Very strong on the slog sweep. it's his go-to shot. So definitely I'm expecting some protection out there, maybe even two, because that's where he hits. He's a good sweeper as well. Can reverse sweep it mainly, the conventional sweep pretty hard, and the slog sweep, which he's renowned for. So Mujibur Rahman will have to pull out his bag of tricks, spin a web, and hopefully fool this guy who's a very good player.
Okay, we're done with Bangladesh versus Afghanistan.